being played by someone, I always try to come up with a superhero or a supervillain team for everybody. And, you know, it's kind of hard because we had a while back, the Super Friends was a deck, but I actually think that would have been better called the Fantastic Four at the time.
Okay.
But I just don't know what super teams you'd have some of these people
This might be World's Greatest. I mean, you've got Batman, obviously, there with Soorani.
Is Soorani Batman?
So, I mean, he's the vampire, you know, I mean, you got the Bat-ish flavor with Soorani. And then Jace, I think, if anything, Jace could be Superman. He's Jace.
If he was
the classic planeswalker, just like Superman's the classic superhero. It doesn't get more classic than, well, superhero, Superman. That's it, you know? So it's pretty much the...
And Jace is kind of boring. Okay, I can see it.
Sure. You know, Superman's my favorite superhero. So
oh, really?
I don't mind though, because a lot of people think Superman's boring.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at this board here. We've got
this is round 2 of 10 here for the Star City Games Live Open Series.
So Christopher Berkley with 1 spirit facing down Shaheen with 1 spirit of his own, a vampire, a Jace Architect of Thought on 2, a Soorani Lord of Innistrad on 3 with 1 emblem in play. But Christopher now with a Cavern of Souls on Angel casts Angel of Serenity. Gonna remove permanently Shaheen's 2 tokens.
Take that. And he also takes from his own graveyard a Thragtusk.
Thragtusk, yep. And I thought Christopher only had 1 spirit in play. He's actually got 2. 1 is off camera. In fact, it looks like our playmat is shifted slightly, or our camera is shifted slightly, where we're not seeing the entire playmat. But we'll see if we can correct that in a bit, and maybe even get the players to shift their cards over a little bit to help us out. I know they look like they're staying on the playmat. It's just the camera's not entirely on the playmat. So Jace -2. Shaheen is going to factor Fiction, and he sees Augur of Bolas, Soorani Lord of Innistrad, and Isolated Chapel. Christopher going to split this probably Planeswalker. Yeah, Planeswalker versus Land and Augur. Shaheen with a decision here. Do I want to back up Soorani, or do I want the 2 cards? So I want an Augur and a Land. I think he probably goes Augur Land here, and he does. Soorani goes to the bottom. Shaheen's board state now quite different than it looked a few minutes ago. There's just 1 Planeswalker remaining. He's got Soorani on 3 with 1 emblem, and that is it besides his lands. You can see his graveyard is Azorius Charm, Sphinx's Revelation, and Supreme Verdict alongside Dissipate and Jace. Augur of Bolas comes down for Shaheen, and it hit something. I can't tell. It's a gold card. It was a Sphinx's Revelation.
One of the things about this late-game Junk Reanimator list is once you get Cavern, Angel of Serenity going, a lot of decks have real problems because you essentially can get to a point where they can't stop your Angel from coming into play, and then the Angel ends up just being, again and again, really problematic. Now we see Detention Sphere hits the Angel of Serenity. The Thragtusk that Christopher Berkley saved from earlier from his graveyard comes back out. Jace goes up to 5.
Architect of Thought back. Back again. Check it to wreck it. Let's begin.
Check it to wreck it. Wow.
Sorry, I had to go with the old school. So that's the tag team, Soorani and Jace. Tag team back again. Check it to wreck it. Let's begin. That's where I went with that.
Jeez.
I mean, World's Greatest. Superman, Batman, tag team. You know where I'm going. All right. Christopher Berkley now left with just I believe, 2 spirits. I think they're trying to arrange the board to clarify things, but unfortunately, I don't think the judge or the table judge realizes exactly what the problem we're having, because we've seen the players move the cards in every direction but the one we need. But Christopher Berkley with 2 spirits in play, and his Angel of Serenity in detention did get that Thragtusk back, so I imagine we're going to see that here.
Well,
although Cavern is not on Beast that we know of. We know he has Cavern on Angel.
I feel like it's kind of exciting seeing half the match, because it gives you that sense of dramatic tension. What is happening? I don't really know. Right. It's like the monster in Alien. You never quite see it.
It also feels like you didn't have to wait for the very beginning of the game, all that, like, charming and far-seeking and things like that, and you just go right in and you're like, wow, what is going on? This is the Royal Rumble. What's happening? There's guys all over the place. Actually, that's kind of... Oh, well, speaking of rumbling, Crater Hoof Behemoth from Christopher Berkley. And
boom!
Hoof, there it is.
Hoof. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Hoof getting in with alongside two spirits. Or wait, Shaheen apparently has some responses here. I think Hoof is now tapped, but the spirits are not. I believe Shaheen's hand is Sphinx's Revelation Island. So I just started singing. I started quoting "Whoop, there it is," and then said "Hoof, there it is." I can't believe that actually just happened in the same match. I didn't even mean for that to happen. So Soorani goes down. Jace sticking around, still on 5 counters. Augur of Bolus, Vampire, Jace on Shaheen's side, and Jace ticks up 1. Pass back from Shaheen. Christopher draws. I think, let me see Christopher's list. Did he find another Hoof? He may have.
He might have.
There are 2 in the deck, and I think he just drew a second one.
I think they're mostly on our screen now at that point. Is that slightly one spirit just off screen?
Yeah, that's the only card that we can't see.
There we go, the one spirit.
If we could just get that one moved closer to the middle of the board, we would be able to see it. But for the moment, we'll just keep reminding you guys about it.
Thanks, Ooze Weird, for the shout out on Twitter. We appreciate that you're enjoying it, and everyone else that's out there enjoying our matches, let us know. Give us a tweet at SCG Live. Join in the conversation overall at #SCGDC.
And you see Christopher keeps wanting to attack with those spirits, but then remembering the Jace effect and changing his mind. And so just Hoof. Okay, I think maybe there was some argument, like you declared it as an attacker, you can't just keep untapping it. Did it 2 turns in a row, I think. This is me speculating, I could be totally wrong. But you can see the spirits attacking, getting in for a 0, because they get -1, -0. Augur Bolus jumps in front of the Crater Hoof Behemoth there. Shaheen now has a spell, and it is a big one. Sphinx's Revelation, going to get Shaheen a whole new hand. That is a revelation for what, 11 cards? 6, maybe 10? Jeez. I don't know. It was a lot of cards.
A million trillion?
Was it 11? Or it was a 10. It was 10 cards, I think. He went up 10. All right, so Shaheen now with a full grip, more than full grip, and a way to get back into this game at 28 life. It looks like Shaheen swings with his Vampire. Christopher Berkley, though, at quite a healthy life total himself. 49 to 28. This looks like some sort of strange NFL game that got out of hand.
Supreme Verdict. Now we can kind of get a sense of why we're still in game 1 here.
Yeah, Shaheen just gained 2 life off of the, because his token is lifelink and he has an emblem.
Okay,
So
if Soorani is Batman and Jace is Superman,
Wonder Woman!
who is Liliana Wonder Woman?
You don't remember the old Wonder Woman theme song? Anyway, she looks like Wonder Woman. She just had a little change in her fashion sense.
Goth Wonder Woman?
It's Goth Wonder Woman. I mean, we're taking applications, but you have to stay in the DC universe if we've got Batman, Superman, and this is World's Greatest. I think you just really got to go with Wonder Woman on that. She's certainly not Lois Lane. Just saying. What?
Oh, Lois
Could be
Lane.
Catwoman. Could be Catwoman.
Ooh, I like it as
She
Catwoman.
could
That
be
makes
Catwoman.
actually their outfits correct.
Yeah, Catwoman is more goth. All right, so Liliana comes down, makes Christopher sacrifice a dude. So
Thragtusk.
Christopher now with a Thragtusk, yeah.
One of the casualties of the way that Shaheen Soorani has his deck built, Shaheen's main deck has only 2 actual factual for reals counterspells. And also one Snapcaster Mage. So most spells that Christopher Berkley plays will resolve. And that is potentially problematic.
Yeah, Shaheen's list is more of a tap-out control. You know, when he doesn't tap out, it's usually because of Sphinx's Revelation and not because he has a counterspell. But you're playing against a blue deck that's not tapped out. You need to fear the counterspell. So Christopher could be playing around counterspells that don't actually exist. Liliana ticks up. Jace ticks up. And Augur Bolus comes down.
From our Twitter, Captain Nintendo 82 says that Tamio is Wonder Woman.
Okay, we'll go with that. Tamio's Wonder Woman and Liliana is
Catwoman.
We'll go with that.
There we go. And we've got a little mention from Feline Longmore as well, our champ, I believe, in Seattle.
Yes,
and she's saying how much that they enjoy watching our feature matches. So thank you.
Centaur, Healer, and Thragtusk coming across, threatening to knock Shaheen all the way down to 22.
The Man of Steel already gone, but the Soorani emblem still in play.
No, Man of Steel's still there.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Batman's down.
Yeah, Batman's down. But Jace has that, Superman has that kind of invulnerability thing with the -1, right?
You can. That's so. Are you sure Karn isn't Superman because you can start time over?
Karn's not in this deck. I don't know. Karn's like something. I don't even know what Karn is.
Karn could be Superman. Flies backwards around the planet a few times.
Dr. Fate.
Okay. Karn's not legal right now, unfortunately. No. But
so Beast left over from the Thragtusk. And the Centaur Healer. Again, Christopher Berkley at 62 life. Shaheen's going to have to drown him. And I believe that's what's happening here. Drown you again. Shaheen with 3 copies of Drown Yard in his deck. So despite being more of a tap-out control deck, he still has that Drown Yard ability to win the game.
I feel like Shaheen's list often wins with Drown Yard, and the Planeswalkers are just there to put up a fortress.
Absolutely. I think you're dead on. So Liliana's going to -2 here. And I think we're seeing a scoop from somebody. Yeah, it looks like.
I cannot tell who scooped. I think Christopher is scooping, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Christopher is scooping.
Okay.
Christopher, I think, sees the writing on the wall. He sees the the Fortress of Solitude that Shaheen Soorani has created.
I like it.
And he's like, I cannot at all get through. It is far too impossible to penetrate the Fortress of Solitude. I will, even though I'm at 62 life, concede, because otherwise I will drown to death.
That's right. Glacial Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude is located in...
I think you could drown there. I mean, if you're trying to get to it. So we are actually going to see a game 2 here. Now, I would be unsurprised to see this game fail to complete. Our first game took 35 minutes. From the sideboard, Shaheen Soorani, I think, will bring in Evil Twin, actually. Evil Twin, a blue-black 2 clone. It comes into play, copy something, and then it can spend mana to kill creatures that have the same name as what it's copied. And the reason I would say that being a possibility is that in a grindy match, being able to copy a Thragtusk, get the life, and then be able to murder their Thragtusks is quite good. I would be not surprised at all to see Rock's Faithmender. The 1/5 body can stop much of the early attacks that Christopher Berkley can put forth, but also that doubling of life gain can be a very huge deal in just making it so that he has so much life that Christopher cannot kill him in time.
Did you mention the 3 copies of Rest in Peace in Shaheen's board? Particularly effective against a Reanimator list, although not as effective as you would think against a deck called Reanimator, because Christopher can very well just cast his spells.
Absolutely.
If the game goes long, it's a late game deck. It can cast a 4-mana reanimation spell and get something big very early, but at the same time, it doesn't need to. It's not facing down a blitz deck where that is something that has to happen. It's facing down a control deck. It's going to get to a lot of lands. It's going to be able to cast its spells. Still quite effective.
With 7 mana accelerators from Christopher Berkley, I mean, I've certainly seen games where the deck goes turn 1 Arbor Elf, turn 2 Elf Pilgrim, turn 3 Crazy Spell. I mean, It's not likely, obviously, but it does happen. So don't write off Christopher's ability to just cast his spells, as Joey was just mentioning.
Absolutely.
Now, for Christopher, I think we're probably going to see Garruk Primal Hunter, Obzidot Ghost Council, and Acidic Slime come in. And a lot of this stuff is just basically to start dodging this idea of being a reanimation deck and instead be there for a grind as well.
Yeah, sort of just a junk ramp deck.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Joey Pasco. This is the StarCityGames.com Open Series here in actually sunny Washington, D.C., the nation's capital here in the U.S. of A.
I'd say it's partly cloudy.
Well, that's
Pretty
only because
chilly.
we both have colds.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you're hearing a little bit of that in our voices, we're going to try to do
apologize.
as best as we can here. I know I've been vitamin C'ing it up and drinking lots of water. Shaheen Soorani is no stranger to success in our Star City Games series. He has done well in Legacy. He's done well in Standard.
He's done well at the Invitational.
Yep, he's done
In
well.
fact,
Yep.
we have an Invitational coming up in just about 3 weeks in Atlanta. So I want to remind you guys about that.
Yeah,
Of
the
course,
Invitational, the first weekend in
April.
in April.
April 4th through the 6th. Cedric Phillips, Osip Lebedovich, and Tom Martell.
Oh, wow.
Doing the commentary there. Mr. Scarf himself. I mean, I just randomly called him Mr.
Well, you know,
Scarf.
it's interesting. He will not be the first scarf wearer doing coverage.
Certainly not.
Our first scarf wearer during Star City Games Live Open Series coverage, well, that would be Jacob Van Lunen.
Yes, Jacob Van Lunen.
And
you know,
Joey, of course,
I
is
have to
now...
I have to just put a scarf.
He's got
on
a
now,
scarf
just to
on.
Preemptively scarf Tom Martell.
There were actually a lot of jokes early on because there was a lot of scarf wearing between you and me and JVL.
Well, sometimes it's cold. You know, it's not a fashion statement. It's a my neck is cold.
You know what?
statement.
I think that for some people, like when I think of scarves and magic, I think of Brian Kibler. I don't
Yeah.
think that Brian Kibler wears scarves because it's cold.
I think it's not cold enough in here to wear a scarf, so I'm taking this off. But yeah, as we mentioned, Atlanta Invitational coming up. It's an open series, of course, featuring the Invitational, April 4th through the 6th. And so that means even if you're not qualified for the Invitational, you can show up and play an open series, Standard and Legacy, just like any open series. But the Invitational itself has a $50,000 total prize pool. First place gets $10,000 and 30 open points. Name and likeness on a future StarCityGames.com token. We've seen those debuted with 5. You see Mike Flores, Patrick Chapin, Brian Kibler, Brad Nelson, and Jerry Thompson on the first set, but you get your likeness on that. We'll tell you guys more about that in a bit. Now we're underway here in Game 2 with just 7.5 minutes left. Turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim, Christopher Berkley, and he wants to... Really, at this point, Christopher is playing for a draw. If he wins this game, it's really unlikely he can win 2 games with 7.5 minutes left.
I mean, if we think about it, there was 15 minutes left when the last game started, and now we're on turn 2 with 7.5 minutes left.
Yeah, so Deathrite Shaman and an attack from Christopher Berkley. Rest in peace from Shaheen, and that makes Deathrite Shaman look a little foolish.
Well,
I mean, it attacks.
at least anemic.
Anemic. Okay, we'll go
There
with
we go.
anemic.
It's a cheap.
I think his makeup makes him look a little foolish.
There we go. You weren't a goth kid ever?
No, I wouldn't say I was full goth. Although, you know, I got close.
I wasn't
more like
a-
the punk rock.
I wasn't a
kid,
goth
you know?
kid ever.
I had the spiked collar, but more for the punk rock thing, not the goth thing.
2 damage coming on in. Another mana accelerator. And Cavern naming something. Mulch.
I didn't know Cavern could name mulch.
Name's Angel.
Oh, named Angel. Okay.
And Shaheen pointing out that the mulch is not officially in the graveyard. 1 land is retrieved. Everything else is gone.
Overgrown tomb for Christopher Berkley. Off of that mulch. And right now, Christopher Berkley is not looking great. Again, he has to win this game just to get a draw out of this match. And he's just fighting with Avacyn's Pilgrim and Deathrite Shaman, both of which only have 1 power. So he does have a second Pilgrim though, so he's gonna be able to attack for 3 here if he wants, and that's what he does.
In for 3. And Shaheen getting ever closer to a Supreme Verdict mana. 3 mana here, Centaur Healer.
Yeah, we did try to shift the playmat a bit. It is in a little bit better of a spot, but we're still having issues seeing the top of the screen. We'll fix that in between rounds.
Azorius Charm for the draw, and I think we're going to see a verdict.
We're gonna see Superman.
Superman says, I see all of you all there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to +1 here, says Shaheen, Jace, Superman, all 3.
I think I see a Thragtusk, Unburial Rites, and an Angel of Serenity. I could be wrong about that Thragtusk, though.
Yeah, he's, that looks like a Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Oh, it's a Crater Hoof.
Could be. I could be wrong, but I got a glimpse of it. It didn't look Thragtuskish.
2 damage from the Centaur Healer to the Jace.
Yep.
Not very effective.
Superman absorbing a lot of that attack.
And Christopher Berkley, main phase, while Shaheen is tapped out, casts the Restoration Angel, gets 3 more life by flickering. Oh, darn it. 5 for 1.
Shaheen with a Supreme Verdict off the top. I think Superman would live through something like a Wrath of God too, and he does. And a Factor Fiction from Shaheen using Jace's -2 ability. He takes the Azorius Charm over the 2 lands as Christopher split them. Christopher now with 4 lands in play, and that's it. And he's got an Unburial Rites in hand, but that is a dead card with Rest in Peace on the board. And Rest in Peace is sitting up there next to Jace. So Grizzly Salvage from Christopher. Thragtusk, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Forest, Crater Hoof Behemoth.
I bet he takes the Forest. I'm wrong!
No.
Takes the Thragtusk.
Takes the Thragtusk. All the rest exiled, and Christopher...
Oh, I did not see... The land being off there makes a difference.
Jace ticks up for Shaheen,
oh,
and a Curse of Death's Hold for Shaheen to just really... I mean, he is, closing off all avenues of victory for Christopher Berkley. Now, not only Unburial Rites is a dead card, his 1-drops are dead cards.
+1 on the Jace. Main phase Sphinx for 3.
And Christopher also can't seem to find a 5th land for that Thragtusk. So even casting a 4/2 Thragtusk, which is what it'll be once it hits the board, which I believe is now we're going to see it because it did just finally find that 5th land. Christopher is way behind. Shaheen draws land, and he is going to...
Factor Fiction style. Yeah. Choose which cards.
Well, we have Wonder Woman and 2 lands.
He takes Wonder Woman.
Tameo. 2 lands go on the bottom there. Accidentally put in the...
Thank you, Captain Nintendo 82, for letting us know that Tameo was Wonder Woman.
And Shaheen with the Evil Twin, as you predicted, copying Thragtusk. Shaheen with a...
If you're not familiar with Evil Twin, it's not a very often played card, but blue, black, 2 for a star creature, which comes into play as a copy of a creature in play, but also has the ability tap black, blue to destroy a creature with the same name.
Yeah, so now that is that Evil Twin just destroys any target Thragtusk.
I really love the flavor on Innistrad. Innistrad as a set, just such a home run.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't think of 2 consecutive sets that were such a home run as Innistrad block. I'm sorry, not sets, but blocks. As Innistrad block and Return to Ravnica block so far. The only other one that I think of that comes to mind, original Ravnica and Time Spiral block.
Thragtusk attacks, and a Augur of Bolas just hops in the way. Second Thragtusk for Christopher Berkley.
And remember, Shaheen does not have to win this game. Shaheen is up a game. He wins the round as long as Christopher does not win this game. So Shaheen just needs to play defense, and he is doing a heck of a job. That is what his deck is built to do.
Jace ticks up.
And Tameo comes down. She's going to...
Wonder Woman uses her Lariat of Truth
yes.
on one of these Thragtusks, I believe.
Yeah, there it is. Ticking up to 5 there.
It's the Lariat of Truth, correct?
Lasso of Truth? Is
Lariat.
Lariat, okay.
Yeah.
She's flying in an invisible jet right now. You can't
they got
see
rid
the
of it.
jet.
She can fly.
She can just fly back.
Lasso of truth.
That's what I thought.
And the evil twin
Takes
murders
out,
the Thragtusk.
Sneaks up behind it. It wasn't so sneaky. I think Chris saw it coming, but Thragtusk's still dead, and Beast left behind there. Now keep in mind, because of Curse of Death's Hold, which Shaheen controls, Chris's creatures are -1/-1, so that Beast is a 2/2. Shaheen has a 5/3 Thragtusk there, that evil twin. That Obsidat, though, that's a 4/4. Christopher Berkley with an Obsidat, and it's going to drain for 2 as it comes into play, and now it's going to phase out, so to speak, at the end of Christopher's turn. So Shaheen now on turn 1 of extra turns keeps the Beast tapped, taps it and keeps it tapped. Now some decisions for Shaheen. He knows Obsidat is going to come back and drain him for 2. How is he going to answer it? He has a Lingering Souls. That'll be one way to get in the way of it. He also has Azorius Charm, which he can use when it attacks, if it attacks, and presumably it will. Shaheen plays a land, Watery Grave tapped, and passes back.
Obsidat comes back, drains for 2.
Beast stays tapped, so Christopher now with an untapped Thragtusk is a 4/2, and an untapped Obsidat, which is a 4/4 because of Shaheen's Curse of Death's Hold. Again, a Rest in Peace is also on the board just off camera, alongside a Jace Architect of Thought, which is also just hanging around there next to Tameo. You can see there, our director moving the overlays so you can see the entire board. Christopher in a rough situation here. If he attacks, he's facing down potential Azorius Charm, which we know Shaheen does have. In addition, that evil twin is a Thragtusk, and it's a bigger Thragtusk than Christopher has.
Now, one of the things that we can see also is the clock is ticking down. Now, I don't know if they actually have more time than is apparent, but regardless, there's very few moments left.
We were told Shaheen was on turn 1 of extra turns, I believe. We're going to get a clarification on that. If that's the case, this is turn 2 of extra turns for Chris. Thragtusk attacks, and Shaheen activates Evil Twin's ability and just destroys it. Obsidat phases out yet again at the end of Chris's turn.
Shaheen up a game, does not have to win this game.
But he still drowns Chris there, and that removes those cards from the game because of Rest in Peace. Shaheen untaps, plays Liliana, who we've established as Catwoman, and asks Chris to sacrifice a creature. Tameo taps down the lone remaining Beast on Chris's turn, and this is indeed turn 3 of extra turns. Christopher now has to win next turn. I'm not seeing a way to do it.
It would require making Shaheen so angry that Shaheen was kicked out of the tournament somehow.
Possibly. So we see Chris now has to split the cards there from Jace's Fact or Fiction ability.
Second curse, perhaps?
Yes.
Second curse. Curse you.
And curse you again. Curses.
Obsidat comes back, drains you for 2. Shaheen now at 16. Christopher Berkley perhaps at 40. There it is, 40.
Again, Shaheen up a game, does not have to win this game, just has to put up enough defense to not lose. He is still playing to win, though, with Drown Yard activation. There's, no real reason to do that. Unless you're just, maybe trying to get a win. And yeah,
there we
Christopher
go.
Berkley realizes he has no way to win. That was his final turn of the game, turn 4 of extra turns. And Shaheen Soorani 1-0 in time with Esper Walkers, or Super Friends, or World's Greatest, however you want to